former attorney for President Trump, Christina Bobb, who is now at Judicial Watch. She's also the former executive secretary for the Department of Homeland Security and a judge advocate in the United States Marine Corps. She wrote the best-selling book, Defiant, Inside the Mar-a-Lago Raid and the Left's Ongoing Lawfare. Christina, thank you. Always a pleasure and great to see former Trump foreign policy advisor, Newsmax foreign policy advisor and analyst, Walid Phares. His book, Iran, an Imperialist Republic, another must-read today. All right, so we have a lot of developments when it comes to Strait of Hormuz. One admiral, French Admiral Walid, says basically it is suicide to try and put in a civilian ship or a warship there, complicating a lot of things. And we also know attacks on Gulf states like Dubai International Airport taking 2 Iranian drones. And just moments ago, Baghdad's embassy airport, the U.S. embassy operation is hit. What's the end game with the Gulf states? How do they move forward, continue to take this, and do they get involved?
They are crossing a dark tunnel, which is obligated, and we know it in the military level that there will be a phase where things will be tough. But as we are moving forward, and we understand from the U.S. military spokespersons, that tunnel will have an end, and that end is eliminating the major battle ships, and 100% eliminated. There are still a number of speedboat, kind of torpedo boat or launching rockets boats. They are easy for the U.S. Navy and for the Air Force assets. So with time, we will see that the Hormuz situation is going to recede. In addition to that, we are targeting on the Iranian side of the Persian Gulf all these batteries of missiles. So according to our U.S. military, it may take 1 to maximum 3 weeks to clean up that situation. And that will have an effect, obviously, on the price of gas.
Exactly. And is this 3 weeks the White House can bear the brunt of? We saw a lot of folks excited on the ground there where Mike Carter is in Kentucky. They are supporting the president. They say this needed to be done. They are supporting the war. But there's an interesting op-ed that's out today, Christina, and it's asking, with friends like Trump, the Gulf must tread carefully. You know, we had these amazing announcements from the president with this historic cooperation in the Middle East about the investments in the United States. This article kind of lays out if they are getting hurt in the Gulf with some of their economics, with some of their oil production, you know, how vulnerable those can be, you know, that the alliances work when both sides are benefiting. Talk to us about how the president sells his message to the Gulf as well to keep them, you know, calm, but also here at home.
Yeah, well, his message to them is very, very important, not just publicly. Obviously, he's showing a strong public profile and intending to commit to the end on this engagement with Iran. However, he's also doing diplomatic negotiations with them behind the scenes. And I have full faith and confidence in Donald Trump to be the chief negotiator in all of this and to be able to navigate us, the United States and our allies through this. You know, it's a very uncertain time, but Donald Trump, there's nobody better that can negotiate this than Donald Trump. So I have no doubt that he's keeping our allies apprised and responding to what they need in order to remain our allies and stay with us. So I'm not too worried about that. I think the media likes to take shots at Donald Trump. I just don't think that's one that's really going to land anywhere.
Well, you have to wonder when Iran is striking Doha, Qatar, you know, what they're really thinking, Walid, because that at one point was so neutral and hosting diplomatic discussions. Walid, talk to me about Kharg Island, getting a lot of play here. Very small island. It's 60 miles off the Iranian coast. Really so critical in all of this. People may not have heard about it, but why this is something that everyone is looking at. And this is obviously something Iran is looking at to continue to hold control over.
Absolutely. For those who study history, it played 2 roles. Role number 1 during the Iraq-Iran war from 1980 to 87. This is where the Iranians installed their missiles. This is where the Iranians tried to encircle Saddam's regime because it could stop the Navy, the maritime Navy of Iraq at the time. But for us now, it is strategic because it commands and controls the access into Iraq, and Iraq is under these militias, pro-Islamic regime militias, and also it can confront the forces of Iran just on the coast. So it is possible, I'm not saying I heard it from the administration, that this island could be subject to a takeover.
Information, truth, is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.